Nice, good, thank you. Call the meeting to order at 6:03. Gotta fix the clock. Good evening. This is the November 3rd, 2025 Zoning Board of Adjustments meeting, and I will do the roll call. We have in attendance who are voting members: Suzanne Ryan, Chairman; Audrey Klein, Vice Chairman; Chuck Sumner is our clerk; Kate McMahon is a voting member; Jody Persons is a voting member; and Sabette Stroman is here tonight, and she's an alternate non-voting member. And also we have in attendance William Scott, Director of Planning and Development. Tonight we have 3 variances and 1 request for a motion for rehearing for 3 variances on that motion for rehearing, which is a public meeting, not to be confused with a public hearing. It is the board's practice to not open such to public comment. The order of business tonight will be the clerk will read and report on the site visit, and he'll read the legal notices. The order of business will be the applicant will read his submittal and the 5 criteria, and the abutters will then be allowed to speak, as well as public for or against. The board will hold its questions until after the applicant and abutters have spoken. And then, if need be, the planning director will weigh in. And then, when we vote to close the public hearing, no further public testimony will be taken, because we deliberate on what we've heard. So, if you'd like to speak, do so under the public portion. Clerk, would you please read about the site visit and the legal notice, case by case? And the first one was, well, actually, Peter Ford's the first one.
The first one is Peter Ford, and there was not a site visit necessary since this, we toured that site last month. The case is brought by Peter Ford, PAP's tax map 217-23, 51 Mill Street, numbers 9 and 11. Public hearing for a variance from section 175-91, permitted uses in the commercial district C1, Central Business District, for the redevelopment of 2 commercial units to 2 residential units.
I'm sorry, you said 9 and 11? It's, I think, 9 and 14 in the minutes, in the agenda.
9 and 14. If I misspoke, I apologize.
No problem. Just wanted to make sure it was right.
Well, as I said, there was no site visit, so we are prepared to proceed.
Okay. Is there someone here this evening to speak for Mr. Ford? Hello, come on up, please, and state your name for the record and your position, and you're welcome to read from your application or interpret it, the 5 criteria in your own words, whichever is easiest for you. I don't know.
Hello.
Yeah, you know, you have, it's voice activated, so you actually have to speak right up to the microphone.
My name is Doreen Blaisdell. I'm a Wolfboro resident, and also I work with Peter Ford on a regular basis. I am here representing him tonight for the variance request of redeveloping the 2 commercial units to 2 residential units located at 51 Mill Street, 9 and 14. I do have the criteria 1 through 5, if you'd like me to read it. The variance will not be contrary to the public interest because converting unused office space into downtown residential housing supports economic growth. It lessens the need for downtown parking and promotes a vibrant and compact downtown core. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because mixed-use buildings are allowed in the C1 zoning district. The substantial justice is being done because the addition of residential housing benefits all downtown businesses and providing visitors and residents in our tourist-oriented area. The values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished because the property is located on Back Bay in the downtown core. The demographic shifts have lessened demand for traditional office space and increased demand for living units. The property has been vacant and available for rent or sale for approximately 3 years. And this is an existing unused office building. Demand for downtown living units outspaces current supply. There are few opportunities to create residential units in the downtown Wolfboro to support the goal of maintaining a vibrant, livable, compact downtown. I also manage the Lake Wentworth Inn, and we are seeing the same problem over there. We have actually been supporting quite a few year-round residents with the shortage of housing in the area.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak for this applicant?
I believe Roger.
I'm Roger Murray. I'm a resident of Wolfboro, and I'm the owner of the unit on the second floor of the middle section, one that has the great view of Back Bay and no view of the parking lot, which I've always enjoyed. I didn't necessarily come to speak in favor of this tonight, but I think it makes all the sense in the world. There is a demand for residential housing. In this case, when I moved into my office in 1982, and at that point, Back Bay was green with a yellow strip down the middle, and the green was all milfoil. Charlie French had a junkyard where the Narrows condominiums are now, and since then, there have been residential development on the bay. It's been much improved, and it is in fact an attractive location. I believe the only reason we're here tonight is because the applicant is seeking 2 residential units. If 3 were being requested, it would be a multifamily dwelling, and it would be permitted, just like in the building Smith River, which is immediately next door. I think eventually the rest of us who own office space in there will also want to go residential, but this makes all the sense in the world. It'll have no impact, certainly no negative impact on property values. It will enhance the neighborhood. There is all the parking in the world there. I know where we've got 76 spaces, which are part of the condominium. And the condominium currently consists of Bayside Village Professional Building, our building, and the restaurant, because Smith River was withdrawn from the condominium because originally the condominium documents did not permit residential uses. We amended our condominium documents earlier this year so they could entertain residential uses. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Roger.
Just speak into it? Okay, there you go. My name is Joy Massinio. I'm with Maxfield Real Estate as a realtor, and I was the listing agent for this property when Peter Ford was interested in it from the very beginning. It was Joe Santoro's property, and I listed it on 10/14/22, and then I had it for 2.5 years before we finally came to an agreement on it. My initial pitch will be that residential is the highest and best use of this property. Having had 25 years of experience in the real estate market in Wolfboro. And the other point I would like to point out is that for the 2.5 years, I only had one person look at it for commercial use, and that was a doctor out of North Conway. but he only wanted it if he could buy everybody's building. And Roger gave up his. So anyway, everybody that looked at it for residential use. It came with dock slips. These two units each have 2 dock slips for a total of 4, and that was very appealing to people. Plus, you could walk to downtown, which is very appealing for a lot of people moving up here, and plenty of parking and things like that. So that was the appeal of it. I probably showed it at least 3 dozen times over the course of 2 years, and only one person asked about it for commercial. Everybody asked about it for residential. And the 3 offers that we did receive, the first 2 were not viable offers, but Peter Ford certainly was. And everybody did their due diligence, because everybody acknowledges that you have to have a second floor egress. That was all explained by Tom Zotti. And then we also had to change the covenants, but we also we're providing dock slips, which was very important to people looking for residential. So I would say that if it was still on the market as commercial only, I'd still be listing it. So I think that it's a good thing for the town, good income, bring more people to town as year-round residents. So any questions, let me know.
Is there anyone in the audience that's opposed that would like to speak? Well, I was remiss in not reading the purpose of this Commercial District C1, Central Business District. The Central Business District is designed to protect the character of the existing downtown, maintaining its pedestrian scale while promoting a healthy mix of retail, professional offices, medical, and residential uses within the districts, and promoting mixed uses on individual properties. It is intended to enable the downtown to remain a vibrant, compact commercial center serving the needs of the community residents, the region, and tourists as an economic center, and to promote a complementary and a diverse mix of commercial and residential uses. And we did get a memorandum from our town planner, and it has been confirmed and read and confirmed by our council. Okay, so
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
the memorandum that we got from
It's
Mr. Scott.
if I may, it's the mixed-use memorandum. It's not specifically about this one. It's the one I wrote about mixed use.
The general one. What
Yeah.
was about the council
The
said?
mixed uses memorandum.
Right, that was the
And
planning
council-
board one, talking about generally mixed use downtown?
Yeah, and the
Okay.
lack of the definition, it basically,
Gotcha.
we ran it by council, and they said use variance is the only thing under permissive zoning, so it goes into more detail than that, but it answers the question of the use variance. I
Okay.
sent it
So
out.
So I didn't see the question to council or the answers, that's why I don't know what you're talking about, but I think I get the gist of it now. Did you have that to give to us, or?
Do I what?
Yeah, I mean, I can go copy it, but it was more of a.
I think I understand it now, I just,
Well,
I
it
hadn't,
all came to us electronically. Everyone got this electronically.
I did not get that.
It was a while ago, Audrey, and it.
Oh,
went-
no, I got yours, I just
All right.
didn't get anything from the
That's what
attorney.
this is.
No, he didn't, he reviewed the premise and
Oh, oh.
worked with Suzanne.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
confirmed that the premise was accurate. And.
And the premise is that the way to go about this is to get a use variance? is-
Correct. In
Okay,
the absence of a mixed use, that's the only
Yeah.
real method.
so I'm back where I started, is that's what I thought, so, okay. I have a question about the language in the application and,
Do you want to close the public hearing?
No,
Close the
because we're
public-
not done yet.
Okay.
This is still
Public comment. Okay.
So I think the variance is to this 17591, and the variance was going to be for a second accessory dwelling unit, but none of that language is here now. So I'm wondering what's changed and what that impact might be.
Accessory dwelling unit is a term that's in the ordinance. This is mixed use that's not in the ordinance. So I believe it says that there be 2 dwelling units replacing 2 office spaces.
So the variance is to make this building a mixed-use building?
No, it's to put 2 dwelling units into 2 office spaces. In the absence of a mixed use, we're not going to define mixed use through a use variance.
Okay, so why is the term accessory dwelling unit? And then, as we talked with the last hearing, we were talking C1 allows the commercial building with
The
one.
last hearing is moot. You didn't take it up, so it's not really an item for discussion, right?
Well, it's in
The
the
last
it's in the
application.
definition. That's why I'm wondering.
Can we
Well,
can we hold off on this back and forth? I see someone in the audience that would like to address probably what you're talking about.
The accessory apartment or dwelling unit that came up at the last meeting, that was something that was put in the zoning ordinance years ago to address the situation where you have something like it's now, I think, Wolfboro Storage out on Route 28, so you could put an accessory apartment in there for somewhere to watch over the storage facilities. What is being proposed here is simply converting 2 commercial condominiums into 2 residential condominiums. I think if you look at the zoning ordinance, the permitted uses in the C2 district include single detached dwellings. If they were simply single family dwellings, then arguably you wouldn't need that variance here. If 3 units were going in there, you would not need the variance because it would be a multifamily dwelling, which is a permitted use under the C1 district. So because of this sort of wrinkle, we're looking at, these are 2 residential units.
So if it were 3, if there were 3 residential units, and that would mean there was either 1 or 2 office units left in this building, that would be a mixed-use building, not a residential building.
But that has nothing to do with it. If you look at the building next door,
I
it's got a
understand that.
commercial first floor where it's 6 or 7 apartments.
Yes.
But if you put in 3 apartments in there, or multifamily 3 units, then you have a multifamily dwelling, which under the permitted uses exists. That's one of the things you can do in the district.
So
Irrespective of anything else in the.
with all due respect, a building with commercial and residential isn't a multifamily building, it's a mixed-use building.
No, it's a the residential units would constitute a
If I may,
multifamily.
there is no mixed use in the ordinance, so there is no term to refer to. If it's a mixed-use building based on the actual building, then that's fine. There's no mixed use in the ordinance, so there's no ability to reference it as mixed use through the ordinance.
I know, that's why I'm asking why the term accessory dwelling unit came out of the application where the C1 district says it allows 1 accessory unit and potentially a second accessory unit with a variance.
Where does it say that?
Well, if you're talking about an ADU, this is not an ADU.
I'm not saying it's an ADU, I'm saying it's accessory to the commercial building.
It's not accessory to anything.
No, it's not.
It's a standalone residential unit, the 2 of them.
Okay, I think that we could sit here and argue about those definitions, which I don't want to do. I don't believe this makes it a mixed use, a residential building because you're having 2 residents and 3 offices. But I don't understand. What I'm concerned about is that if you want a residential building, then that means you don't want a commercial building. Not you. You're not the applicant. I'm kind of talking in general.
He wants 2 units. It says conversion of 2 office condos into 2 residential condos. He can't do mixed use. He doesn't want a multifamily. He doesn't want an office building. He wants 2 office condos.
But when you say you
into 2
can't do
residential
mixed
condos.
use, are you
There's no
saying we
mixed
can't
use
do
in
it
the
because it's not defined?
It's not in the ordinance
I
as a use.
understand that, but with a variance, can we not do a mixed use?
Well, if you do a variance, you're going to get 2 office condos turning into 2 residential condos.
Which is what the application is for.
That's what he wants, and that's what it says. So there is no mixed use in the ordinance, despite the fact that the purpose in this district is mixed use.
I understand.
So with the term, it doesn't apply here, because it doesn't exist.
But you've got building next door, you've got the Colonial Arms, you've got buildings throughout the downtown that have commercial and multifamily up above it, all permitted. Mig Smithford went in mid-'80s.
I understand that there are lots of buildings with apartments above and commercials below, including the one next door.
And so all the applicant is asking is to take 2 units and go in from commercial to residential.
I understand what the ask is.
That's the entire variance application. It's not, I mean, and whether it's mixed use, no matter what it is, that's all he wants to do, and that's what he's seeking.
So Audrey, at the last meeting, we talked about possibly looking at this as converting 1 unit to an accessory unit of some sort. But since then, Bill has done some research, talked with his council, and agreed that the simplest way and most straightforward way is just change of use of those 2 units from commercial to residential.
No, I get that.
And I think that's the clearest way to look at it, and I think that's the way that it should be presented and voted on. It's simple as that.
So, well, let's finish this part and then we can get into deliberation.
Can I throw out a question?
Jody,
I just want to turn to parking quick.
Microphone.
is a what?
I get a question about parking quick.
Yeah.
Can we swerve to that or no? Yeah, well, I see it's got, how many were allotted when it was the commercial? I see there's 2. Yeah.
1 per unit, yeah. For residential based on the state statute.
It's, yeah, 2. Is that, you think
he's
that's
got
enough?
4 in the application.
What I'm getting at, is that enough, you think, or? I mean, I'm just saying, if this gets all done and recorded with only 4 2 per thing,
Right.
if, I'm just putting it out there, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Kate, it looked like you wanted to ask a question.
Thanks, yes. So the problem is that there's a sort of philosophical statement that mixed use is encouraged, but there's no provision for it in the ordinance. Is that the problem?
Yeah, I think that Chairwoman read the purpose. It specifically protect the character existing downtown, pedestrian scale, promoting a healthy mix of retail, professional, office, medical, and residential uses within the district, promoting mixed use on individual properties. But there is no, and it actually says a diverse mix of commercial and residential uses at the end. So if you go down the allowed uses and even the special exception, there is no reference to mixed use. And mixed use usually has a specific definition, which doesn't appear here.
Suzanne.
I have one question, and that is, usually, I don't think I've seen residential on the, well, I shouldn't address it to you. I don't think I've seen residential on the first floor. Is it okay that residential is on the first floor and not commercial first, residential on top? Does that matter?
That doesn't apply in this zone.
No, I have that concern. That's one of the concerns I have with potentially the way this is worded, but
But that isn't in this zone.
what isn't in the
That
zone?
scenario of first floor being commercial and the second floor being residential is not in this zone.
But this is a variance, so we're looking at
Well, we gotta
everything.
go by what the zone says we can do, not what another zone can do.
We can apply that to any place we want.
I'd like to just simplify this. It just permitted uses and simple language. Conversion of a permitted use to another permitted use, and no change to the exterior of the building or parking is required. The use shall require a change of use permit and compliance with all applicable building and life-saving codes. So I don't know why this is getting so complicated. Why it's
Well, do we want to do this during deliberation, or do you want to do it, I mean, we might have more questions for the audience, I suppose.
Have you finished your questions with the public?
It depends on what comes up.
Well, I'm
For
going to
now.
close the public hearing. I make a motion to close the public hearing for the purposes of deliberation. Do I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
No, I think we should leave it
Roll
open.
call vote.
No,
Jody?
Well, we're closing it, you mean, closing the public hearing?
Yes.
Yeah,
you need to use your microphone, Jody.
yeah, yes, I'm closing.
Kate?
There's a gentleman back there who had his hand up. He's sitting next to
No,
Roger.
no. He's already spoken.
Oh.
Kate?
Yes.
Ryan, yes.
Yes.
Yes? No?
Chuck votes yes.
Oh, okay. So the public hearing portion is closed. The board will go into deliberations. And typically, we do the 5 criteria. And at that point, we start with number 1. 1 and 2, we combine together. The variance is not contrary to the public interest. The spirit of the ordinance is observed. I think the spirit of the ordinance is observed per the purpose of the ordinance, and it's very clear that mixed use is allowed in the C1 district. And
And it's not contrary to public interest. It's actually, the public is interested in more housing downtown.
So I feel like that this property, the commercial nature of this office park, or whatever it is that you want to call it, I do agree that obviously Wolfboro needs housing, but every time somebody says it, I'm going to say Wolfboro needs affordable housing. We don't need unaffordable housing. We don't necessarily need expensive housing. What we need is affordable housing. I think that in the way this office park or this area, the neighborhood of this is put together, that we shouldn't cannibalize the commercial first floor spaces for residential. I think residential goes very great on the second floor, just like the building next door has commercial on the first floor, residential on the second floor, and I think that's appropriate. I think using a large part of this building for 2 apartments really underutilizes one of the only large parking lots in town that could be used for commercial businesses with a lot more parking needs. Now, I understand that it's been said that it's been on the market and can't be rented. I'd like to see some verification that that's the case. And we know that the building is, it's aged. It's not in the best shape. It's not great looking. The parking lot's not super good looking. I just wonder that the use of residential on the first floor, and I don't have an issue with any residential on the second floor, I'm all for that, isn't in the spirit of the ordinance in this area, and it's very different from the surrounding buildings. And so I don't think it meets the first 2.
To address your parking, it says that they will provide parking spaces for the residents. We believe a reservation of 4 spaces will provide sufficient parking for the 2 units. Also, they state, how does this help businesses? The housing downtown will provide economic activity in the winter throughout the residents. In addition, the housing can provide local employees with an opportunity to be within their job center. Okay, so let's go to number 3. Substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the public, the general public. I don't see any harm to the general public whatsoever.
Again, I think that using the first floor in an office park for residential is not is harmful to the development, the long-range development of the town.
May I ask
How
a
And I
so?
believe
How
there
so?
can be, I believe there can be 2 apartments on the second floor.
How is an apartment on the first floor?
Because it cannibalizes commercial space, but it also doesn't fully use the quantity of space and parking that they have there that could be used by a business. Once you turn it to residential, how do you then go about and use all those parking spaces? It'd be great if that whole thing was redeveloped into a, affordable housing project, but that's not what they're applying for. I mean, I would be all for that because it would be, a compact, dense development using the space that's available, one of the only spaces in downtown that has plenty of space for what you want to do. I just think it's not, it's a poor use of this property to turn both floors of that building into 2 large apartments, apparently with dock slips. I don't think that's what we need.
The only problem with what you're saying, Audrey, is there's nothing in the zoning that says that they are compelled to keep that first floor for commercial.
That's why this is a
Not in
variance.
this zone, not in this zone. Find it for me in the zoning
It doesn't
book that
have to
says
be
that.
there. They're asking
It's
for-
not like over in the back bay over there that has a different zone.
They're asking for a variance. So it doesn't have to be in the zoning. The whole point of a
Well, your
variance is...
premise would be better supported if it was in there. They're asking for a variance just to change residential from commercial to residential. What floor they put it on is their business.
Oh, I don't agree with that. That's why I'm arguing.
I'm sorry, Bill?
If I may, Madam Chair, if there was a requirement in C1 to prohibit residential on the first floor, then the variance would include both the use and the prohibition of residential on the first floor. There is no such prohibition, so the variance is focusing on the use, which is not listed in the district. The difficulty here is the town has written a purpose in a district which cannot be implemented. So, for just about every applicant that's looking for mixed use, this is going to have to be it until the zoning is changed.
In your book.
May I ask a question? I just have a, and it probably doesn't matter, but it says that they are providing housing for visitors and for residents. And I'm wondering, are these apartments long-term housing or these short-term Airbnbs, or does it matter?
That doesn't matter to us.
Okay.
Well, it matters to me.
Well, it might, but show me in the ordinance that says that prohibits it.
Again, this is a variance. The whole purpose of a variance is it's not in the ordinance.
They're not asking for a variance for short-term rental.
They don't need a variance for short-term rental.
I see Roger out there busting at the seams.
You've closed the public hearing.
I know, but I can ask the board for a vote if they'd care to open it, because he's seems stressed, like he has a point. Does the board want to entertain that?
I voted to leave it open, so now I'm going to say no. I don't think we should reopen it because somebody wants to talk.
I haven't completely asked the question, but it's up to the board. If the board would like to entertain a specific question, they can. If they choose not to, we don't have to. How do you feel?
If you're looking for a motion, I'll move that we open the public hearing again just to hear the comment.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Audrey, no.
I think you're on really thin ice legally to open it for one comment that's not technical.
We don't know if it's technical or not.
I don't think we
Roger,
should.
would you present your statement, be concise and be technical? Thank you.
Could I just mention that as of next July, that's true. However, the town has the ability to restrict residential on the first floor in that RSA, which I hope we look at when we write sections that address this.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
You need to close the hearing.
Right.
Okay. Number 4, what?
I move that we close the public hearing again.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Second, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4, the value of surrounding properties are not diminished. Expert testimony has been given, I think, and on this question, it is not conclusive but can be ignored. The board may also consider other evidence or the effect of the property values, including personal knowledge of the members themselves. And I was remiss in saying that we did get a letter from the chamber. Thank you. We got a letter, I believe, in support. Dear members, Zoning Board of Adjustments, this letter is to express support for the variance that would allow for the creation of additional housing within our community. The need for a range of housing options for current and future residents continues to grow. Although flexibility will help to encourage thoughtful development, lending itself to attract and retain residents, which is so important in strengthening the local economy. The project on your agenda appears to align with the efforts to balance the community's character while supporting the needs for economic sustainability. Thank you. Mary DeVries, Executive Director, Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so does anyone want to comment on the number 4, values surrounding properties? Do you see that this would diminish the values of properties around in that zone or district?
I do not.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think it's going to diminish.
Okay,
No,
Audrey?
Yeah, I think it does. I don't think anybody wants to go into a commercial area, walk down the street or the sidewalk or to their car and look in somebody's living room. So I don't think, I think it does diminish the opportunity for this to be commercial in this neighborhood on the first floor, and to use that area and those parking lots to the biggest advantage, more than 2 cars per living space, and have businesses down there. So I do think it would, I don't think residential units are going to, I think they're going to diminish the value of that development. Residential units, should they be on the first floor. Again, second floor, I don't have any problem with that. That would probably increase it.
Okay.
Can I add to that? Can I add something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel the opposite. It's not going to, it would diminish it more if these two units were left empty for another 8 years. I think that's going to diminish the property values in that area. I would think it would, having something in there is going to,
So your answer is yes or no, it diminishes?
no, it doesn't diminish. I'm just making
I
an
didn't
example
understand.
that if it stays empty,
Okay. And I'm a no. Doesn't diminish. 5, little enforcement of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. Unnecessary hardship being shown in either of 2 ways. The applicant must establish that the property is burdened by the zoning restriction in a manner that is distinct from other land use in the area. I don't know what he put down on his application. You want to go on that one, Audrey, while I look for it?
Again, I question the,
Where's his application?
I don't think there's any hardship here. I think if these 2 units are turned into residential units, there's going to be a large investment of money into this building, which it very badly needs. And if that attention were paid to this building for what it's presently approved for, there's a much better chance that they would be able to sell it or rent it. But leaving it as mothballed, it's going to look terrible, and I don't think they have a hardship in order to approve the variance, in my opinion.
Okay. He cites B, owing to the special conditions set forth above, the property cannot be reasonably used in strict conformance with the ordinance, and a variance is therefore necessary to establish a reasonable use of it because mixed-use buildings are allowed in the C1 zoning district. Conversion of 2 commercial units to residential meets Wolfboro's master plan goals by enhancing downtown living with walkable residential units. Now I lost my paper. So, Chuck, do you have anything to add?
Yes. I think the key is that the property cannot be reasonably used in strict conformance with the ordinance. It can't be reasonably used. He's tried for 3 years to sell it as a commercial property, and he has not been able to. So I think it's unreasonable to require him to continue maintaining it as a commercial property.
Well, I think the point is I didn't recognize that it was unused office space, I guess, for quite some time. So to Jody's point, that an idle storefront or office front is not conducive to a nice neighborhood. So I agree that he does have a hardship. Kate, would you like to add anything or not?
I just have a general comment. I think the rationale in the application is to increase housing. It doesn't say affordable housing, but it says to increase housing. And with the slips in the waterfront, and I think that this is likely not so much to solve any housing problems, but to, increase tourism, perhaps through short-term rentals or whatever. I know that's not the question before us, but the rationale of helping to solve a housing shortage, I don't think really applies.
Kate, Suzanne, may I say something? I think it's, I'm just going to make a point that I think it is faulty decision-making to weigh very heavily on the fact that this building has sat empty, because we have no information whatsoever about what the rents were, what was offered for on the market, whether it was offered at a value that was, a good price. I'm not saying for or against, I just think it's faulty decision-making to weigh heavily on the fact that this building has sat empty for 3 years, because we really don't have all the facts about why that is.
I'm not weighing heavily on it, Sabette. I'm saying it's one of the arguments that the applicant has presented. And I didn't even realize that before myself, so I find it an interesting fact.
Isn't that what the hardship is being, the hardship is that it's empty?
What's that?
The hardship that they're claiming is that it's empty.
That's part of it,
Part of the hardship?
yeah.
Oh, what's the other part?
But so my point is, we don't know exactly why it is empty. I'm just saying, I don't think that's really great decision-making to use that as a hardship.
Well, I think part of it is there is a special condition there.
What is that?
Well, the special condition in part is from an empty, I'm going to go back to the empty building then, thank you very much, is that that's a special condition. It's a restriction that he has not been able to sell or rent the property. That's what he's testifying. It's not our job to say we don't believe him. If he says it, that's his testimony, and that we have to take that. And I think it's it does not serve any purpose to ignore it. At any rate,
By the way, it's not his testimony, it's the testimony of a real estate agent who was contracted to rent out those properties, and she had one inquiry in almost 3 years. Regardless of what the price was or anything else, there was only one person that was interested.
That wouldn't be regardless of the price. If I put my house on the market for 3 times its value.
Sabette, I don't think that's in line.
Let's not assume that it was badly priced.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to make a motion. Can I say the legal notice or an agenda? I'll make it right here, I guess. I'm going to make a motion to approve the application for Mr. Ford tax map and lot 21723, 51 Mill Street, number 9 and 14, for a variance for section 175-91, permitted uses in a commercial C1 Central Business District for the redevelopment of 2 commercial units into 2 residential units. And then there will be our standard conditions.
Second.
Madam Chair, I emailed you the conditions if you
There
want.
were-
Sorry.
Say again, Bill?
I emailed the chair the conditions if you needed them when you get there.
What is it?
But you seconded
Email the conditions to you if you'd like to refer.
when you get there. But I'm sorry, I interrupted your second, Chuck.
It will take me forever to get the email.
All right, well, I'll call it.
So I'll just,
Wait a minute. Do you want to have him read the conditions?
yeah, that's a great idea. Will you read the conditions?
Sure, why not? But you still need to vote, do you not? Or do you want the conditions before you vote?
Wait a minute, I
Do you want the conditions before you vote, Suzanne?
Right.
You do? Does she need to?
He's going to read the conditions.
I'm doing that right now. So your typical conditions on a variance are, all federal and state permits shall be received prior to construction, including but not limited to the town of Wolfboro building codes. The approval is per all of the documentation submitted, and in your decision, I make a table and list that documentation, so that'll be part of your decision, everything that's in the file. The application as submitted to the ZBA does not satisfy the submittal requirements for a building permit or a site plan approval. The notice of decision shall be recorded in the Carroll County Registry of Deeds, and the applicant shall be responsible for payment of all, recording all deeds. This variance should be valid and exercised with 2 years from the date of approval, or is further extended by a local ordinance or by the zoning board of adjustment for good cause in accordance with 674-33 IAA. Appeal process pursuant to RSA 677-2, an aggrieved party may appeal this decision to Superior Court within 30 days of the date of the board voted to approve or disapprove the application, or in some instance, Housing Appeals 677-4 and 677-15 and/or 677-6. If there is a significant change to the site plan proposal, the applicant should return to the zoning board.
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
So my second still stands.
And you seconded. Roll call vote. Audrey?
No.
Jody?
Yes.
Kate?
No.
Ryan, yes.
Chuck, yes.
Motion carries 3-2. Thank you. The hearing is now closed. All right, so now,
Next one is
Next bill.
2 lawyers on Main Street.
okay.
I still have to go through it.
Yeah, you went and saw that, right?
Yeah, where were you?
I couldn't find it.
Yes, that's it.
We might have some technical difficulties with that podium mic on the, I just got a text from somebody that when anybody talks on this podium, it's not going on the TV.
And that's exactly why we have our recording secretary here.
Well,
Okay.
but can't we hand them a microphone? I think we
Yeah,
did that in the past.
we can give them one of
Hand them
these.
a
See if
mic.
this will reach.
Because that happened another time when I was watching.
It's dead.
Are you saying handing him a mic isn't going to solve the problem? It can, yeah. Okay.
The other mic is what?
Perfect.
Dad?
Why are we using it? If we know it's dead.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is 217 South Main Street, a public hearing for a variance under section 175-96, dimensional controls, 175-70 setback and lot coverage, and 175-71 permitted uses in a village residential district, and the ROI for residential office institutional overlay. It's quite a combination of changes. And Chuck, our clerk, would you please read the site visit information and the legal notice?
I think you just read the legal notice, but the site visit was conducted at 5:15 tonight. Present were Kate Audrey, Jody, and myself. For the applicant, Reed and Phil Marbury. We toured the property. We walked around the outside of the property and saw the proposed site for the front steps with a roof over it. We went further around the building and saw the proposed stairways up to the second floor unit. We were also shown the proposed walkway that would go, I guess, 3/4 of the way around the building in order to get to the parking lot in the rear. We left with a good general understanding of the proposed project. Respectfully submitted, Chuck Sumner, ZBA Clerk.
Okay, thank you. All right, would you please introduce yourself and go through the 5 criteria in a manner that you're accustomed to?
Absolutely. And I'm happy to go into any additional detail as the board would prefer as I go, but I'll take the approach of having submitted a fairly comprehensive 5-point argument for each of the points that have been submitted to the board. I'm not going to go verbatim through it. I think that would be a waste of your time and for everyone here, but I'm happy to entertain any additional detail as the board would prefer. But I'll kind of take a summary approach of it at the initial stage at least. My name is Philip Marbury, and my brother Reed Marbury and I are the members of Octa La Vista LLC, which is the formal applicant, the LLC that we created in order to acquire this building and continue on in the project of it. We are attorneys here in Wolfboro. We live here in Wolfboro, both of us, with our families. And when this property came on the market, it looked like a perfect opportunity to acquire it for the purpose of our office. But upon evaluating the property further, it became very clear and evident that it's far too large of a building for that purpose alone. It's a very large building. It has been a church for the last 70 years or so, maybe closer to 80, 85. But originally was built in the late 1800s as a residence. The front portion of it, the octagon portion, was a residential structure initially as built, and then later acquired by the church, and then through various additions, it has grown and expanded to the current footprint that it sits at today. For many reasons, of which I'll go into them, the best use of it is to actually use it for both our office and the front portion, the original residence, turning that back into residence. And our plan for that is to make it 2 residential units. Again, a lot has been said today about the need for residential units in this town, and this is perfectly situated for that purpose, which leads to the underlying zoning districts we're in. This is in the Village Residential Zoning District, but also in the ROI Overlay District. And I want to read the purpose and intent of the ROI Overlay District because it's really relevant in why this is such an appropriate use of this structure. The ROI Overlay District in purpose and intent under 17536A specifically says, within the built-up area where organized community services such as fire and police protection and community water and sewer services are provided, where the public street and sidewalk infrastructure is sufficiently available, and where medical and professional services, educational and employment opportunities can be situated close to one another and convenient to many residential neighborhoods, it is desirable to provide an area for medical and professional services, educational institutions, and a mixture of these uses. It goes on in subsection B to say that it's intended to be comprised of a mix of medical and professional services, educational and residential units, and be compatible with nearby residential and institutional uses. Unfortunately, as we investigated this and pursued with the town how to get it to this place, it was discovered that though these are the purposes, there was no permitted use for the combination of residential and commercial in one building. And so we are going before site plan review for tomorrow for the one thing we have to get with them, because although a professional office, which ours is permitted in this district, it's subject to site plan review. And so we are going before the planning board tomorrow. And the underlying district, Village Residential, has as a permitted use duplex. And again, if those two things were done independently, both of them would be permitted. But the combination of those two things in one structure is what simply isn't permitted or even defined as far as I could find in the ordinance. And so the primary and central variance that we are here before asking you for is that use. One structure that comprises 2 residential units and our professional office unit. And it is important that the zoning ordinance limits the commercial unit to professional offices, because that's what's permitted in the ROI overlay. And so that is a limitation that would be there. It can't just be any commercial space, but the professional office is permitted. You'll notice, though, that we have asked for 6 specific variances related to this one purpose that we're seeking. And that's because we wanted to be very thorough and comprehensive and make sure we brought before you all of the potential things that would require variances for this. 3 of the 6 variances that we have requested would be absolutely necessary for any use that's a change from being a church, because they relate to pre-existing conditions that are already non-conforming. The current building is intruding on both of the front setbacks in portions, because this is on a corner lot between Green and Main Street. And so those are under the zoning ordinance are both front setbacks. And this is, all of those setback areas are delineated on the plan that we provided to you. But it's also encroaching in the side setback near Ralph Hansen's property. And so we need variances for all of those setback requirements for the currently existing non-conforming structure. It also is currently non-conforming with the lot coverage, and specifically dealing with the permeable surface, simply because it is a very small lot, which leads to the other non-conformance, which is the lot size in this district. All of those are current nonconformities that we can do nothing about and would continue to be nonconformities regardless of how this property is utilized or used. And so that's what 3 of our 6 variance requests are, ancillary to the change of use that we've requested. The other 2 are for additional setback variances for the very limited purpose of constructing a front landing for the downstairs residential unit, which is, again, all of this is demonstrated on the site plan that we have provided. It's a 4x6 covered landing. And I did bring, this may be more relevant for site plan review, but I did bring just a rendering of, similar covered landings that you can see in this area of what we intend for this. And it's a very simple covered landing. May I approach to just so the board members could pass it around?
I see it.
Thank you.
And so this covered landing is the first of the 2 substantive variances that we need, because this sits within the front setback facing Main Street. But this would absolutely enhance the residential look and flavor and feel of this structure, which is one of the things that is relevant and important under the ROI district, that any commercial use not detract from the residential appeal. What we're going to do, in fact, would improve that residential appeal, because we're going to bring back the actual residential use into this building. And then the second variance that we need is for access to the 2nd floor residential unit, which would be done through an exterior staircase on the side, technically. It's kind of practically feels like the back of the building, but it's the side opposite Green Street, where we would build a rear-facing exterior staircase that would access that top residential unit. It's important to note for this purpose that the furthest line of intrusion in that side setback is still the building itself further down, that the stairwell will not further intrude than the building already does in this setback elsewhere, and it will be completely behind that furthest line of intrusion. It's just something that, again, helps put the board at ease that we're not encroaching further into the setback, even though in the area that the staircase is, it's obviously further away than the building currently is. And then the final variance that is requested was one of those nonconformities, but I do want to be very clear that we are increasing the total permeable or impermeable surface area from 52%, which is its current impervious area, which is obviously non-conforming to the maximum 30 that is technically allowed in the district. And we are increasing that by only a 6% total with all of these changes. So it would go from 52 to approximately 58% impermeable surfaces. I believe that all of these changes, to address the first 2 points just kind of concisely of the 5-point, it's not going to be contrary to public interest, and it perfectly complies with the spirit of the ordinance, because as has been spoken of at length, Wolfboro does need more housing. And this is a perfectly situated place to provide housing not only for potential long-term residents, but also for those traveling nurses and doctors that are directly across the street from it, working at Huggins Hospital, who could use these residential units and then walk to work every day because they're right there. It's in walking distance to downtown Wolfboro to be utilized and enjoyed by whoever ends up in those units. And so it complies with the spirit of the ordinance, as I've talked about already, in the sense that this ROI overlay district is specifically intended for the combination of these residential and professional offices. It simply is, we are asking that those be allowed to be combined into a single structure, which is why, again, we need the variance. We believe that this also affords substantial justice, because this being what I believe is the absolute best use this building could be put to, providing both that professional office that we need and I know will be valuable for Wolfboro into the future, as well as the additional 2 residential units in perfect location in this residential neighborhood. It's worth noting that I don't think any of them are here, but we have talked and introduced ourselves to several of our neighbors, including Ralph Hansen, who is the neighbor that abuts us on the side where the staircase would be, and he has told us that he has no objections or complaints to that, and I think as the abutter that we were concerned would be most affected by that staircase, it was helpful for us to hear that he wasn't opposed to it, and so for whatever that's worth, I don't think he wrote a letter or anything. We've also met the Batchelders, and again, I think the general neighborhood will be improved by the fact that this building, though it will still have that professional office, will also bring back more residential units to the neighborhood. Point 4, I think the values of the surrounding properties will only serve to be enhanced by taking what has been a church for the last, again, I think 80 plus years, updating it, renovating it, improving it, making sure that it is kept up to date as an active law firm, professional office, and then well-maintained, aesthetically pleasing residential units available for the community. This will improve the property values all around it. And then the final one, which is always the one that tends to be the hang-up and the difficult thing, is that literal enforcement of the provisions of these various ordinances that we have requested a variance from would result in an unnecessary hardship due to the unique conditions of the property. The property's current lot area is already non-conforming. We have to have a variance to do anything with it. The setbacks are non-conforming. We have to have a variance to do anything with it. The permeable surfaces, non-conforming. We have to have a variance to do anything with it. None of these are hardships that we created. They are what we inherited, and again, I think the reality is all of them predated the zoning ordinance itself. As to the variances that we are specifically requesting, again, the very large nature of this pre-existing non-conforming structure, the very large available parking spot or parking lot that we won't have to seek and add more, all of these are the existing conditions of the property that render it most applicable for either continued use as something like a church or other assembly, or some use like we're seeking to put it to, which is the combination under the ROI of professional and residential units. It's worth noting for the board that we have enough parking there to satisfy the independent requirements of both a duplex plus what would be required for the professional office. So we have enough parking to meet all of those standards by default. And that's a wonderful thing, but again, is a very unique condition for a property like this in this area of Wolfboro. And then as far as the 2 setback variances, again, the only way that we can practically use it for these purposes is by creating safe code compliant entrances and exits to these 2 residential units. And so the very minor additions of the exterior stairs and that front landing are extremely reasonable in light of the need to provide that safe ingress, egress access to the residential units. I also want to leave the board with this important thing from the state of New Hampshire, the Supreme Court. It said that the New Hampshire Supreme Court has made it clear that any hardship suffered by an applicant as a result of the interference with its right to use property without commensurate public advantage is an unnecessary hardship. And that's an important thing, because that was the Supreme Court saying, yes, the first part of that standard can feel almost impossible sometimes, because as we talked about at the site visit, there's very little that's truly impossible to do when it comes to renovations, plans, structures. But if the restriction does not come and coincide to a commensurate public advantage, then the Supreme Court has said that is by definition an unnecessary hardship, which satisfies the obligations of this paragraph 5. And so happy to field any additional questions the board has, happy to talk through the site plan that we have submitted if there's anything that's not clear in that. All of the calculations of permeable surface you'll see on the left side of that, and then the additional proposed landing and stairwell are, I think, in orange or kind of a brownish color there for easy reference.
I think I may have failed to open the public hearing. If I did, I do so now.
Yeah,
So could you say that again, please?
Yeah, repeat that all, please.
Just so that the record shows that it was opened.
yeah.
I don't
We're
recall
kidding.
whether I did or I didn't.
Well, for the applicant, does it have to be the public hearing, or was that just my applicant?
You're public.
Okay, I have a question for Mr. Scott. It appears that he's asking for 6 variances.
Correct.
And the application is submitted as one application for 6 variances. So I'm hopeful that you say we don't have to do them one at a time, that we can do them collectively. I know we've done it both ways, but I've never had 6 in front of me.
Yeah, I think with the most recent multi-variance was Atwell, and you did them individually, but what you did is you accepted the testimony for all 3, and then went through the criteria for each one.
Yeah. Usually we defer to what the applicant has applied for, but I just wanted to double check.
So we got to go through the criteria 6 times.
We're going to write up separate decisions, so if that's what you're asking, we can.
We can be quick.
I haven't seen one that's a combined multi-variance. I've done a lot of research on your decisions in the past.
I think we should run through all 5 criteria for each one, just to be formal.
Say again, please.
I think we should do 5 criteria for each one, just quickly on the
I
same
agree.
testimony.
I agree.
I would offer that I think we
Well,
can take...
before we start asking questions, I just needed to do a procedural thing.
Okay.
But are you planning on asking a question of the applicant, or because we're going to go then to the public for public comment?
It might be a question for Mr. Scott.
Well, then I think we'll hold on that. So I would ask, thank you, and I would ask if there's any public that are...
Well, actually, he can answer it also.
Well, we can go back to him.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the public would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak in opposition to the application? I see none, so therefore, Audrey, would you then like to ask your question?
For the future, and also for this one, the variance labeled number 6, percentage maximum allowable lot coverage, 30%. Now, is it your understanding, both of you, that in an overlay district, whatever is in the overlay district supersedes what's in the underlay district? And so you could have 70% lot coverage?
I'll give my opinion on that. I've studied it, I've looked at it, I've tried to understand how the overlay perfectly ties into the underlying district, and I don't know that I have a perfectly clear answer to that, which is why I said I'm going to default to the safest approach of coming before you to ask for a variance.
So Bill, I mean, this is going to happen, you know, a lot because there's overlay districts. Is it your reading that the overlay requirements supersede anything in the underlying district? They give benefits and they maybe take away rights?
Yeah, I think that overlay districts are usually constructed to get more out of an application, that you might get more character improvements if you get better density sometimes and things like that. So the overlay districts, I don't think completely wash the underlying zoning.
So this overlay district says that you're allowed 70% lot coverage based on the, you know, the reasoning for the overlay district instead of just the 30% in the village district. Now, I would think that they would mean that because they're allowing a mix of uses and they're assuming that there would be more coverage.
Right. I mean, if they need 70%, but he's got two different uses here, so how do you divide that up when it's not a singular use of office in the district?
And I think as far as I would say, if the board were to agree and vote that that was not a necessary variance applying the 70%, I would have no objection to that and would withdraw that variance request. My only concern is that because the residential underlying permitted use is in the VR district, and that's where the 30% limitation is. I just didn't want to risk that because the residential use is tied to a 30%, and that's what we're also seeking to implement. I just wanted to make sure we covered that
I understand
base.
you came with the most you were afraid of, but I'm concerned about the way we're going to read it down the road. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem listening to this variance and deciding it, but I would rather know how we're going to address this, you know, in the future, and maybe we can get that answer at another time.
Well, don't we weigh each case on its merits? So this, whatever we do with this doesn't necessarily dictate what we do with the next one. It's on its own merits.
Yeah, but it's more like, do we have to hear a variance for that subject down the road? So yes, we do base this one on each one. So that's all. Bill can fight
Okay.
that,
May I
decide
ask
what
a
to do.
question of him?
Just so that I keep this straight, because I always flip it around. When you said that the Supreme Court said that to give a variance if there's not a public to deny a variance if there's not a public benefit from the denial, isn't it that there's no loss to the public?
And, you know, there is still some application that the board has to weigh there, but the words that they used was that there's not a commensurate public advantage, which means an advantage that is equal value to the burden that's being placed, right? And so, you know, I can speak to this as an attorney, in other cases where courts use this language, if there is a very tiny benefit but an enormous burden, courts would say it's not enough.
Right.
If there's an equal burden but also an equal advantage to the public, the court would say that is commensurate, and therefore it's not necessary, or then it could kind of go either way. But that's the shifting scale that is left to the discretion of the board.
Thank you. And one other question. Are you going to have a lift or something near that ADA parking spot? Because otherwise they have to go behind all the parking to get to the walkway.
Sure, and I'll be happy to address that. ADA compliance isn't strictly necessary for what we're seeking to do. We want it to be ADA compliant because one of our staff needs that, and so we are going to be investigating whatever the best way to ensure that she can access our building. But we don't want to make that part of this because that's not a requirement, and we want to make sure we can adjust as needed to make sure we have the best access in the future for that.
You said that the impervious area would increase from 52% to 58%. What's the drainage situation?
I don't think that it's going to have a significant effect on drainage, and that is one of the things that we are addressing with site plan tomorrow. But the only impervious surface being added is that landing, the stairs, and then a very narrow walkway going around. But all surrounding those additional impervious areas are well-drained grass. There's actually a stormwater drain near the parking lot that is funneled to. And so I don't believe that there's going to be any drainage concerns related to that minor increase.
Thank you.
I have a quick
Sabette
question.
has a question.
I was looking at Zillow to see better, see the house better in daylight. Now, how do you access the upstairs? Is it still the external stairs that I see here, or?
Currently, the upstairs of what will be the commercial unit is accessed with an interior stairwell as well as that exterior. We are removing that exterior stairwell on the back end because it's not necessary in light of the changes we're going to be making. And then we'll work with code to ensure all the proper ingress, egress, access points. But there is an interior staircase on the commercial side, but there's no way for us to use that for the residential side without running into whole different other fire code enforcement issues, because we need to have a solid barrier between the residential and commercial unit.
I also wondered, along with Kate's question, do you need as many parking spaces as you have? Or could you actually give a couple of those up and I'll put some more plantings in and help with the...
So I would say technically the answer would be yes, but there's no real perfect answer to that, because again, we're seeking for a combined mixed use, and wherever you see that typically in ordinances, it's got its own kind of parking requirements that are tied to that. If you were just to take the amount of parking that's required for 2 residential units and add that to the amount of parking that's required for this commercial unit, we exactly meet that standard as it is. And so I would be hesitant to reduce it, because as it is, it's fully compliant with something that maybe it doesn't need to be, but it's nice that it is.
Well, and I know you have a lot of clients that need to be in that parking lot.
Indeed.
Okay, so the good news of this is they are planning to go for site plan approval
Tomorrow.
night?
We're there
Yeah.
tomorrow.
If you get past this hurdle.
Correct.
Okay. And so they'll take care of the aesthetics. Hopefully someone's listening and will hear what you're saying. Any other questions at the moment? Jody, you all set? No public comment. Questions have been raised and answered. I'll close the public hearing. Well, let's see. You get the legal notice? No.
And I'm happy to come back up if the board has any questions during deliberation, but otherwise I'll take my seat.
I guess the easiest way to do it is to take them in the order that is on the legal notice and go through them that way. So the first one would be,
We can take it from his summary, too.
has he got them in the same order?
I don't know.
Which way do you want to do it?
It makes sense to take them in the order that the applicant has on here.
I'd rather do these.
Okay,
Yeah, right there. Start right there.
okay. Okay. The first one is for a variance from 175-71 and 175-38 to allow for 2 residential units along with an office commercial unit. Yeah. Okay, so number 1 and 2, we do together. The variance will not be contrary to public interest and the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The proposed use must not conflict with an explicit, implicit proposal of the ordinance and must not alter the character of the neighborhood, threaten public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise injure the public, and must uphold the spirit of the ordinance. Audrey, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm going to do a complete 180 because this is exactly what you want to see for mixed use with a business and residential in this zone. It's scaled appropriately. The units are in places that make sense. It's going to improve the look of the building. It's got units that are scaled for or for working people, so I'm assuming that they're going to be in the affordable or mid-range for rent. And this is the kind of development for a mixed use that we want to see, especially in this zone
Yep.
where it wants to have the residential look, but have businesses in there. This is like 100% good with that.
Yeah, done a great job.
Jody?
Yeah, just like she's saying, it's a good package here. It just keeping that residential towards the main street and commercial in the back and just good combination.
Yep,
Totally agree.
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 Okay, substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not outweigh by the harm to the general public. Chuck, you want to go first on that one?
I don't see any harm to the general public. I think they're restoring an old building, making it look better, and putting it to a better use.
Yeah,
And adding 2 dwelling
I
units.
I agree. Main Street. Good presentation on Main Street. Number 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. We haven't had any expert testimony, but the applicant has stated quite clearly his reasons. And, in the picture, it's going to improve the overall appearance.
Yeah, I like the architectural rendering.
So anyone disagree? No? Okay.
No, I agree.
5, little enforcement of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship.
That's for sure.
Yep.
It would.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing in the physical changes that cause harm. In fact, they're very minor, and without these changes, the full use of the building cannot be experienced.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the variance for 175-71 and 175-38, that all 5 criteria have been met.
Audrey seconds.
Roll call vote, Chuck?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Yes.
And Audrey?
Yes.
And Ryan, yes. Okay, so that takes care of 1. 2, the variance for the dimensional control under section 175-69, both in relation to minimum square footage necessary for a lot, as well as additional square footage required per additional dwelling unit. Any questions on that before we go through the 5 criteria? Number 1, the variance is not contrary to the public interest and the spirit of the ordinance is observed. Doesn't conflict with the purpose of the ordinance, and it doesn't alter the essential character of the new neighborhood. It improves public safety and welfare and so forth. It upholds the spirit of the ordinance. Chuck?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay. Kate?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and Ryan's okay with that. Number 3, substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the general public. I think this is an improvement to the property, and the public benefits from this conversion. Anybody? Chuck?
I see no problem.
Okay, it looks like there's no objection to that, so 3 looks okay. 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Again, no expert testimony, but again, the evidence with the picture and the description and those that went to the site visit can attest to that. I think that the surrounding properties will be benefited by this. Any objection or additions? Or no, I see all heads going in the positive. Literal enforcement of the ordinance, number 5, would result in an unnecessary hardship. The applicant has established that the property is burdened by the zoning restriction. And
It really can't be reasonably used in strict conformance because it's already out of conformance. There's no way to bring it into conformance.
That's right.
Agreed.
So that's, part B that we hardly ever get to use.
okay, agreed. Then I make a motion to approve the variance for section 175-69, as all 5 criteria have been met.
Second.
Roll call vote, Audrey,
Yes.
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Kate, Chuck,
Yes.
Ryan, yes. And by the way, we'll do all the conditions at the end in total and collectively, yeah. Yeah, I think I
ready
get it
for you.
too. Okay,
So is it possible to do the next 3 together because they're all the same request, which is a little bit of,
let's see.
Setbacks.
Let me turn
Little
my
bit of
page.
setback.
Let me turn my page. Yes, because we have done collective ones like that are all on the same.
unless somebody wants to
Section.
pull one out and say something special about
No.
any one of those 3, we can use
No.
the same.
We can,
Okay, so-
whatever your vote is, we can extrapolate it to the 3. So you have 3 decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the record, we will do the 3rd, 4th, and 5th request for variances together since they are under the same criteria, 175-70. And they are for
For setbacks.
side setbacks and
And the setbacks.
front
have already-
setback, side setback, and what's the other one? That's it.
So these are all
2 front
pre-existing
and 1 side.
setbacks.
Okay, so I'm hoping Leanne gets that. The 5 criteria address those. Number 1 and 2, the variance is not contrary to the public interest. The spirit of the ordinance is observed.
There's nothing about these encroachments that will negatively change the look of the building for the area that it's in, or the use to the public.
Doesn't alter the character of the neighborhood.
Does not alter the character of the neighborhood.
Okay, does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yep. Okay. Substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the general public. Again, this is similar to the others. It's an improvement to Main Street.
Yep.
It'll present a nice facade and frontage when you come down, walking
Agreed.
down the sidewalks. So I think that is met on number 3.
Yep.
I don't see anyone disagree. Number 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. I just did that one, didn't I?
No,
No,
not yet.
okay. We have no formal testimony. However, it certainly doesn't seem when you're improving the building such as this, an old structure, that it does not diminish, it improves. Anybody want to add anything?
No, they're improving the building and,
Yeah.
doing the landscaping and dressing up the appearance of the building, and I think
Yeah.
that can do nothing but improve the value of the whole neighborhood.
I like that description, they're dressing up the frontage of the property. Yep. And 5, little enforcement of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship, and unnecessary hardship can be shown in either way. I don't know what they put down, but I don't see I see that they meet the criteria of a hardship. The restriction would not have allowed them to do what they're doing without the variance.
And what they're doing is a very reasonable use and an improvement.
Yep, and it's not out of character with the neighborhood.
Yeah,
And the
no, that-
setbacks have been long-standing for the
Okay.
most part, yeah.
Yeah, the unique geometry of the lot really restricts what they can do, and it really is a hardship to work within those constraints.
So I'll make a motion to approve the 3 variance requirements for dimensional under 175-70, the front setback, the side setback, and another front setback.
Second.
Audrey, yes?
Yes.
Jody, yes. Kate?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Brian, yes. Okay, that leaves us the last one, number 6. Variances for the percentage maximum allowed lot coverage, 30% pursuant to section 175, 175-70, parentheses, D. Okay. The variance is not contrary to the public interest. The spirit of the ordinance is observed. Audrey, you were talking about this previously. Have you got something you'd like to address on that?
Well, this overlay zone is looking for multiple uses in a mostly residential-looking setting, and for that purpose, you end up having potentially more walkways, more impervious, possibly more parking than you would if it was just the residential district, which limits you to 30%. So I believe that the 70% is the value that they need to stay under, and they do.
I see Jody shaking his head in a positive yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Chuck?
Agreed.
Ryan, I have no issue with that. So then, they've met all the 5 criteria. I'd make a motion to approve section 175-70D as requested for a variance for the allowable lot coverage.
Second?
Roll call vote, Audrey?
Yes.
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ryan, yes. So all 6 variances have been approved with conditions. And
Oh,
let's see.
gotta get on the ball here. So the typical conditions of the zoning board of appeals, all federal and state permits shall be received prior to construction, but not limited to the town of Wolfboro building codes. The approval is per all the documentation submitted with the application. The application as submitted to the ZBA does not satisfy the submittal requirements for a building permit or site plan approval. The notice of decision shall be recorded at the Carroll County Registry of Deeds, and the applicant shall be responsible for payment of all recording fees. This variance shall be valid if exercised within 2 years from the date of approval or as further extended by the local ordinance or by the zoning board of adjustment for good cause in accordance with 674:33 IAA. Appeal process pursuant to RSA 677-2. An aggrieved party may appeal the decision to the County Superior Court within 30 days of the date of the board voted to approve or disapprove the application, and/or in some instances, the Housing Appeals 677:4 and 677:15 and/or 677:6. If there is significant change to the site plan proposal, the applicant shall return to the zoning board.
Thank you, and I like that you put number 7 in there, because we sometimes flounder with that. Okay, so the 6 variances have been approved with the conditions so read, and I don't think, do I need to take the roll call vote again? I will, for good luck.
Yeah, there you go.
Audrey, as
Yes.
conditioned?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ryan, yes. Okay, you have your approval. Good luck tomorrow night.
Good job.
Okay. Get this out of those people. That was a voice.
Maybe the people who work for
You know, it might be his office,
Yeah. Could be.
trying to support.
That's cool.
Exactly.
That's right. Want me to read the next one?
Do I do this?
No, that'd be before the next one.
Ken is the next one on the agenda.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me see, let me get my thoughts together here. I don't need this. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I lost my place on the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
right here. Can I read
Yeah.
it? Can I read it now?
Yes, please, will the clerk please read the legal notice and talk about the site visit?
This case is brought by Ken Factor. It's map number 203, lot 117, 140 North Main Street. Public hearing for a variance from the requirements of 175-70 setbacks in the Village Residential District. The proposed garage will not meet the side setback requirements. Formal submission, public hearing, site visit planned prior to the hearing at 5:30 p.m. We, in fact, did meet at 5:30. Present at that site visit were Kate, Audrey, Sabette, Jody, and myself. For the applicant was Ken Factor, the owner. Also present was Dave Holden. Dave is an abutter. He was unable to attend the meeting tonight, but he wanted to make it clear that he was in favor of the project and he was looking forward to working with Ken to iron out the details of the project. We toured the property at
I think he mentioned drainage in particular.
Wait a minute, let him finish.
Yep, but he mentioned drainage.
Go ahead.
Didn't he mention, he said he was ironing out the details specific to drainage, didn't he?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
I
That's what I
just
He did.
I just figured we would call that ironing out the details.
I'm sorry for interrupting your soliloquy.
We toured the property, we looked at the boundaries, all four corners of the proposed garage, and he is really only intruding into his setback requirements by 1 foot or a couple of feet. We're not quite sure exactly how much. He remeasured it today, and it's 1 foot, but it's close. The latest measurement says
Hopefully we'll
he's
get some documentation that will
says
help
it's
us
9
with
feet.
that.
So he explained that he wants a 5-foot gap between the building and the new garage, because I asked if he could move that garage closer, but that 5-foot corridor between the two buildings is something he wants in order to make sure that he can clear snow out of there. Otherwise, we left with a good understanding of the proposed project. Respectfully submitted, Chuck Sumner, ZBA clerk.
Okay.
Want to let him state his case?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking here for a minute. Okay. Well, I'm going to open the public hearing to the applicant and to the public. And so if you'd like to come up and address the board, I see real potential here for continuing this hearing because we don't have a scale drawing.
He's got one there.
He's
So
good.
I have a copy of the, back in 2010, there, these two letters from two of the abutters on there, agreeing with it. Definitely, you don't have any other design. And that is a copy of my neighbor's.
Okay, then, so before you begin, we want to give us a few minutes to look at this, please?
Sure. That's a survey he had done because the driveway at my house, before I lived there, they had to move the property lines. You can see that where the driveway lies and the property line, and that his house is actually
Okay.
on the other side of the property.
Wait, just hold on a second while everybody looks at this,
Sure.
please.
So,
Where's Main Street?
yeah, right here.
Did you go to the site visit?
I did.
No, it's not.
This isn't a plan with the new building in it, though. This is, the new garage The new garage is not in here,
No, that was
correct?
included in my application. I did an overhead, there's an overhead picture with the garage in it, a little white section showing the garage
Yeah, I
next
think
to.
it says, our application says it should be drawn, the new building should then be drawn to scale. And it probably should be on something like this plan.
He's been advised of that.
Okay.
Okay, so your property is not this one that was surveyed, but this one next door?
That's correct. But you can see his property line and where his house is located and the driveway, all that stuff. Kind of gives you context. That was done for a different project years ago.
Why am I totally confused?
So what is this other? Okay, just give me a minute.
Sure.
This parcel to be.
Audrey, I think it was a lot line readjustment, so there should be two lines on that plot plan. One of them, the more solid line, is the actual current line.
The present line?
Yeah, and then the other one, which is thinner, was the former line. Apparently, the
Gotcha.
next door neighbor's driveway was on his property.
Used to be,
Next door neighbor's driveway.
this is Main Street.
Can you say that again, Bill, please?
The plan, and Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, so the plan shows a thicker line toward the neighbor. That is the property line, which was subject to a lot line readjustment to correct the fact that some of the neighbors'
The garage, the
assets were on his property. The thinner line next to that was, I think, the former property line.
it's going to be,
So my driveway was on his property initially, and they adjusted the property line to correct that. That was before I lived there. That was back in 2010.
I'm confused about the orientation. Is it just me? I thought would you show me something?
I just got to look at this today.
Yeah, no, I mean, if this is Main, like we came down Main Street, like I parked here, I walked across, and your house was here.
Neighbor's house.
Okay, well then where's your
My
house?
house is here. Here's the driveway,
Oh.
we're on the edge. This is
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one, too.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. This is
what I
Main
said.
Street.
Yeah,
All right,
over
so,
here.
This is the big tree that was on the corner. Here's my driveway.
so this is the correct, the
This
new
is
lot line.
original one, and it just gives you perspective.
so one of
So
the
we don't-
issues.
Bill, is this village residential?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't have my garage on that. That's the perspective where the property line actually is. I did do the garage on the overhead, the white square, so you can see orientation of it. And for context, the building beside this is 20 by 30. This would be 24 by 48. It's pretty approximate to what it is. That makes sense to you?
Yep,
It's this,
yeah, we met in this
it's
room
the side
here,
setback.
and
This
it's,
And
front
actually,
one
they
is-
stuck that, they were looking, here's the rock wall here, the chestnut tree that I want to
Right,
preserve.
right,
So
right.
they slid forward just a little, to preserve more area in the background.
yes.
Chuck, you may have said it, but how many cars is this garage for?
So the reason I went with the size is because they come out there with our I have a truck.
You probably should talk it to the mic.
So in dealing with the company that's going to build the garage, trucks, you saw the trucks my size, 24 by
He's not
48.
being picked up on the mic, is
You
he?
need
Yeah,
to
you-
Not
speak
being
into the
picked up on the
mic.
mic.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That better?
and slow down a little bit.
Move it up on the top
Yeah,
upper
move
part.
I can
move it up.
Move it up on the
You're
upper
tall
part, just pick it up, and there you go.
Because this,
Tall guy.
the stenographer has to hear what you're saying.
I'm sorry, is that better?
It's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I went with 24 by 48 for the reason that I can fit 4 trucks in there. I have trucks for towing boats, but you also saw what's there now. It's kind of a little bit, it's become a catch-all for my property. I have trailers, I have equipment, wheelbarrows, stuff that doesn't fit in the little garage under my house with an 8-foot opening, gets stuck on the side of the house. So to better the neighborhood, I'm gonna put up a nice white garage, looks like a white barn. Every other house in the street, coming up the street has a barn. If you look, they're the big old house with the barn, so I'm kind of going in with the same aesthetic. I want to get all that stuff out of sight, so get my trucks out of the driveway. Also during the snow, you know what it's like, go out and brushing off 4 trucks, especially some of my trucks are big. So I want to get those out of sight. It's going to look better. My neighbors won't have to look at it anymore. Better for me. The 5-foot offset from the house is because a skid steer is normally 3 to 5 feet. If I have to get a skid steer in there to get the snow out, I want to have enough room to move in without being too tight to damage anything. The reason it is where it is I have you saw the large rock wall in the back. There's also a chestnut tree back there, which I want to try to maintain. I don't think there's many chestnut trees left in town. So I've been trying to keep that one around. I've taken down some other trees on the property. It's not going to diminish properties around me. My neighbors are all in agreement with me. Can't think of anything else. It's going to be basically white, black trim, windows on the sides. It's going to look like a barn, basically.
So I guess the question that you want to address is, do we have enough information to really hear the
Well, that's what
case?
I'm watching Audrey over there doing her mathematical
'Cause
calculations.
we normally have a better plan than what we're looking at here.
And I'm wondering if
So-
it's satisfactory.
So with any application like this in a dense neighborhood like this with such a close encroachment over a small setback, I would want to see the proposed building shown on a site plan that's done by a surveyor. It could be this site plan that they work with or another one. Let's see who did this. Kellaway, so I don't know if he's still alive,
he
but
passed, yeah.
That's-
He passed. I've actually called them.
somebody probably owns this work
They
then.
do. They're not answering the phone. The phone goes right to voicemail.
Yeah,
But
so I think that's kind of a standard for this kind of situation, is to see that on, done on a recent plan and showing exactly where that is and how much encroachment that is. And just for your knowledge, and I think I'm right, that includes overhangs on a building in Wolfboro?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd have to account for the fact that you may or
Yeah,
may
the
not
drip
have
edge.
overhangs.
Yeah.
So there's some details there that need to be looked at. This may not be printed on the same size paper it was drawn on, so, we can kind of look at the scale, but it's not something that's easily very scaled by somebody with just a ruler. Also, well, I have a couple of other things, but that's just as far as the site plan goes.
Is the application complete?
I couldn't make a decision with just the site plan. I wanted to let him know what else might be needed.
So then we should continue the public hearing to.
Yeah, I think we should hear it, and
Okay. So I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to.
can we talk about some other things that
Well,
might
wait,
be an
no,
issue?
And then just let me get that settled, the date, time, and place.
Oh, okay.
And then I didn't close anything.
All right.
Just continuing. The 20th.
Okay, if I may, Madam Chair, I could explain the 20th. You have a appeal of an administrator's ruling. It is related to, I believe, the Atwell case, and it is for the lack of response, and I have those right here from the administrator. And it takes, have to hear it in 30 days, and the 20th will put you inside the 30 days and give us the necessary posting requirements for GSN for the paper.
What time are you thinking on the 20th?
Wait, hold on. So.
We have the room booked, this room booked at 6 o'clock on the 20th.
Yeah, so the motion is to continue this case for the garage, I don't have it in front of me, to November 20th in the town hall, 6 PM. It'll be the first one on the agenda.
Yeah, and then the next one will be the one that I'm going to hand out after
Yeah, well,
you finish
that's after
the
this.
first hearing.
So that's a
So
Thursday
do I have a
evening.
second to the continuation?
Second,
Roll call vote. Audrey,
yes.
Yeah.
Jody, Kate,
Yes. Gonna check.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ryan, yes.
So it's continued to Thursday evening, November 20th at 6 o'clock here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're asking
Now,
him to
well,
provide a better,
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
talk, we
The
need to,
the scale drawing. Audrey, you had something else you thought you might like to see?
Yeah. So a lot of the discussion in your variance application is about how this is going to be similar to your neighbors, kind of look along with the North Main Street connected New England buildings, the architecture, and it says the common aesthetic for all the other houses on the street. So I would like to see what this looks like in elevation form, because you're comparing it to the
That
neighborhood.
was all provided. Did they not get copies of what I provided, what it's going to look like?
Yeah, but I think what Audrey is saying is, what is it going to look like on the site?
there's some sort of a
Outside-
rendering,
no,
like they gave us
elevations.
for the last case, something like
Oh.
this. It doesn't have to be this
Yeah.
fancy, but something like that to give us a
it's
sense
gotta
of what it's
be-
going to look
I think
like.
it's got to be pretty particular, because we're looking at the other, going up North Main Street, we've got these beautiful New Englanders with, everybody's got a barn, attached barn to it, and you're comparing this to that, so I just want to see what you have in mind that way. What does it look like? How are you going to make that look?
I'm
You
not
can
sure.
describe it to me, but I really need to see a
I don't know how to
picture.
do that, that's the thing.
yeah, I would like to jump in here quick. This is one of these circumstances that a gentleman here is doing an application and doing it himself.
Right.
And I would like to just err on caution to just, do what we can do like we have in the past. That's all. Just,
So what do you mean then? Give
just
him,
like,
give him more leeway, or be
no,
more,
not leeway, just,
give him, be more strict about what we get?
yeah, instead of,
You want something more than just a rough sketch. You want detail. Mhm.
well, I thought when, are you saying surveyed plans? Because I thought
For
you,
the footprint, yes. Now I'm
but I
talking
thought
about.
I thought in the application, unless I'm wrong, you could do your own
No,
sketching.
no sketch. A
not-
minimum-
I don't
think-
minimum
To scale
drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
to
dimension.
scale. You can do your own drawing.
Yeah, and I don't
Like if
think
I
we're-
wanted to come,
So the variance being requested has to do with its side setback.
yeah.
And how far it intrudes, and it's not eminently clear, you want to see that documented. But that's the essence of the variance request. I did ask Mr. Factor about the garage itself, and it's going to be 16 feet high. We know it's 24 by 48, be 16 feet high with a pitched roof.
Right, so to
Yeah,
me,
we need-
seeing lots of applications that could be a metal building with a low-pitched roof, and I mean, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I really think if it's being
So that's
compared to the neighborhood, we should have, elevations are the outside of what it's going to look like.
Well, and I think we would normally get that.
Wait a minute, one at a time.
The pitch of the roof is in the plans. You've gotten that, and you've gotten pictures of exactly what it's going to look like.
No,
I don't have any plans.
They don't get-
submitted those, I think you submitted all that to the building department. I'm not quite sure if it went over to them.
Did
I
not.
don't know
And I
if it's
just
in your
want to
application.
clarify that. I don't think we're asking for stricter compliance because he's doing it. I think we're asking him to comply to the standard that we would expect no matter who did it.
Oh,
think
right, don't we have a
What we're
checklist?
asking for is
Yeah, that's what I
clarity.
thought. I thought
We're
we-
looking
Yeah.
for clarity.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get
no,
at?
I know what you're saying. I
He's
just want to
doing-
make
he's
it
doing his
clear
own
that.
project.
Okay, we
there,
have
and
to
it's
talk one at
stricter.
a time
Yeah.
because she cannot take notes and minutes when we're all talking at the same time.
Right.
What Bill said is there are other drawings in the package that we haven't seen because
Okay,
Just quickly, I have these pictures of, which is generic drawings of what it's going to
Yeah, so I would like to see what that looks like on your lot, like with respect to your other building. Yeah, it'll be too late. So that's extremely, doesn't explain the aesthetic of the building. That's, that kind of just shows the basic building system.
try to go with the basic, just black
Yeah.
roof, white side, with a large door in the middle. And I'm gonna get the closest thing to the door, garage door.
So that's all the kind of detail that you could add to that. No, I need some, I need those views in the conventional format with a lot more detail on them, like the size of the doors, the style, the siding, what it looks like next to your house. I can't help you with that.
So I
That's
think
what
what you're
we normally
asking
look
for is for him to sketch all of that and show it on, attached to his house, so you can see what the entire finished product is going to look like.
Right,
I
because
think.
looking at that from my
So-
point of view, that's a commercial overhead door. Now, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's what it looks like when he does it, but right now, it looks like a commercial overhead door, which doesn't look at all like the neighbors.
Well,
Well, the parking lot
So
in
it's a
front
garage
doesn't look at
door.
all like the neighbors either.
Well,
because
that's
it's-
another question,
Because
isn't
it's
it?
full of trucks, big trucks.
Yeah, and I'm actually just trying to get, you saw what's there now, trailers, trucks, equipment. I want to get that out of sight.
Yeah.
so we've already agreed to move this till November 20th, so now, or continue it, I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
can you and Bill work together to maybe come up with some,
Can I
some
ask
drawings?
another
Can I-
question?
Go ahead.
Wait a minute,
just did.
I just
Well,
want to.
let Chuck finish.
Let me
and
finish
then-
first. I think Bill and Ken can work together and put together some drawings or sketches of some sort that would satisfy us. I like to think that the two of them.
Yeah, I think Audrey's point is context. You want to
Yeah.
understand that building within the context of the site.
Most certainly, because that is 4/5 of the argument
Right,
in the
right.
variance.
It is, diminished value and all that. It goes to character and all that, intent of the ordinance. So I understand what you want, but Mr. Factor has a point. It's going to be tough to figure out how you take that and put it in that
Photoshop a
context.
non-existent building onto my
Well,
property.
I mean, there's a
that-
variety of ways.
Can you
I don't
hire
think you can
somebody to do
Photoshop
that?
that.
Yeah, there's actually, in the process of going through this and a few others, there are about 5 companies that create online site plans. Some of the things you saw tonight, pretty quickly,
Yeah.
over a period of a few weeks. So, we're going to try to get some of the applicants to go in that direction because it's, you basically send all the information they can, and it's just CAD drafts
Yeah.
that
Right.
put it together. The elevation might be a different thing. Some of those companies might be able to do that, but we'll see what we can produce. I think it's a matter of trying to get a picture of that thing or something you can put in the landscape.
Yeah, at the
So
very
he's-
least, this company has ones that have already been built that look like that,
Yeah,
that they would
that's
have
a
a
good
photo
point.
of.
So the 20th is 2.5 weeks from now. Is that enough time
Wanna
to
look
put
at
this all
recent-
together?
Recent projects.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
Hopefully, all
or
right.
you have a December meeting
Okay,
shortly thereafter. I mean,
let's give it a go. Okay.
you can always put them on the 20th and if he
We
needs
can
more
continue
time,
it,
then,
yeah.
You've got the second meeting.
When did you buy the property?
13 years ago, I believe.
2013 or
13 years ago.
13 years ago?
So I believe it's
Okay,
been a Wolf World 13
so
years.
to the extent that this is important, is this a home occupation? And do we care?
I don't think that's our business.
Well, we're talking about a lot of large vehicles, so, and we're giving a variance for the storage of those, so I don't know if it's our business, but we're certainly crossing some kind of line someplace, and I don't know what it is, and maybe Bill can think on that and get back to us.
Yeah, let me look it up, and I mean, that actually would be the separate issue. He gets a variance for the barn, and, but you're right, if the barn facilitates a home occupation, we need to make sure that he's got that also, as it might be needed.
What is home occupation?
You'll have to talk to Bill about that further, that, you know, that's a zoning administrator discussion. So we're continued, and anybody else want to tell him what he might need to come back with? Okay.
I can't be here on the 20th. I have a mandatory meeting for my business down in,
Why don't we continue it to the regular monthly meeting in December, or,
Didn't get you.
he can't come on the 20th, so let's recontinue this to the following month.
Oh, he can't do the 20th?
You
No,
cannot
I
do the
will
20th.
Regulate December.
I have a franchise meeting I have to go to
Oh,
in
okay, no
Hilton Head.
problem. All right, so the first meeting
In
of
December.
December, I don't have the date.
I think it's the 1st.
It's the 1st.
It's actually
Yeah,
the first?
it is the 1st.
Yeah.
December 1st.
Oh,
December
okay.
1st?
December
Okay.
1st?
Should be fine, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So amend those minutes and the motion to December 1st. At 6 PM. Okay, that's it for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, before we start the next one, between the chair and the attorneys, we were talking about a motion for rehearing typically does not have public comment because it's not a public hearing. The Business Atwell's representative submitted comments as it relates to the document that you have in front of you, the motion for rehearing. And I think you want to vote because typically
Yeah.
you don't receive comment
Yep.
before those documents, no, before the documents are passed out, you want to vote.
I'm
To
sorry,
receive them.
can you go run through what you just said again?
So the Atwell's representative supplied a response to the motion for rehearing. It's my understanding through counsel and the chair that you typically don't receive public comment for a motion for rehearing. It's not a hearing. So it's probably best that you vote if you choose to accept this documentation to put it on the record. If you choose not to, based on your past precedent, which is typically you don't take in comments on a motion for rehearing. So rather than passing them out right away, you probably want to vote.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a
a
motion to take a recess for 5 minutes for everybody to read this.
Well, I think you need to vote to accept the material and put it on the record or not.
Is that the material that
Yeah,
we're
yes,
accepting, or
yeah.
is that the material?
Yeah, that's the material.
Right, did he not give you one?
No. So,
you're-
yeah, we need to vote on whether we're going to take comment.
There you go. You need to,
I have a
you need to
question.
not read it.
And I have a question.
I have a question.
Because that's not, I don't remember ever having a situation. Is this on legal thin ice if we take it, or is it common?
No, we have to decide, do we want to open up, when we go into decide whether we rehear this case or not, we have to decide, do we want to open up, because we don't have public comment for rehearings.
I
We just
know.
don't. So we have to decide now, will we open up our discussion to the public? It's a public meeting, not a public hearing.
That's what I'm asking him.
Right,
That's
so
what I'm
if I
saying.
may, Madam Chair, there's two issues. Typically, you don't have testimony on a motion for rehearing. So there's the actual discussion if there are people that are representatives of the Atwells this evening. And extrapolating that, do you take documentation and put it on the record on a motion for rehearing?
Yeah.
Well, the
So you
motion,
Well, let him finish.
So
Let me finish.
you should probably have a vote to consider both, or, individually, because it's not your past practice.
so what
And
is
that's my understanding.
Is it legally permitted for us to take comment?
The council didn't indicate, I don't know, Madam Chair, if they indicated to you.
It's been our practice not to open up to the public for
Okay.
discussion on a rehearing application.
I understand that, I heard
So
you.
what we have to decide tonight is, do we do that? And if we do, or do we want to just put it on the record?
I understand what we're deciding.
Well, I don't know that everybody
And-
does.
and if I
Okay,
may-
so I have a suggestion. I would love to see it if it's common to do that, but I think that we should have advice from our attorney as to whether we can do that or not, and that would mean opening this and continuing it? Or what would that, how could we get some advice on whether we can
Because
take?
he's already talked to Bill, I believe, and
Yeah, he didn't prohibit it. Basically,
so what,
the original rationale was that this is not a hearing, therefore you don't entertain dialogue or comment. And then there was a discussion on whether or not you can entertain documents. There didn't seem to be a prohibition in either one in the RSAs. It's just that it's not a hearing, so typically in something that's not a hearing, that's a meeting, you don't typically take testimony other than that of the applicant. So this is a decision of yours, and I can't prohibit the transmittal of a document. I mean, so I have to make you aware of it, and then it's whether or not you want to receive it and put it on file, or, is up to the board.
I have another comment, and that is I have questions about this that I would also like to ask the attorney before making a decision on this.
I have a
well,
question.
we got to deal with this first.
I think we can deal with them both at the same
I'm going to make a
time.
motion to put this on file as received.
Does that mean we're reading it or just receiving it?
You would read it if it's on file.
I
You would usually
don't think
say
that's wise.
that you would take it into the record.
Can I just clarify
Yeah.
something? This is a motion to request a rehearing. So this is something that we say, yes, we will rehear, or no, we will not rehear.
That's all it is, correct.
Correct.
Okay, so why don't we stick to the business at hand?
No, because this has been submitted.
Well,
We have
do
to address this.
All right, let me ask you this then. If we take this and read it, does that mean that we're obliged to rehear the case, or no? Or this is just a response to?
That is, this is a response to the motion for rehearing, so
Got
it
it.
is
Okay.
the
May I-
alternate.
All right,
Is
thank
this
you.
to help inform the decision
No,
about
this is
rehearing?
the alternate view to the applicant's
I got it.
petition in front of you.
It's argument. So if I have questions about this from our attorney, does anybody else have questions they want to ask our attorney about this?
Questions
I mean,
about this
try
or
to-
about?
No,
read it
about
yet.
the appeal.
Do you want me to
No.
reach
I
him?
don't.
Hang
Try to reach
on,
him.
nobody has questions
No.
about the appeal.
No?
I don't think
Yeah.
we could
Okay.
get
He
it.
told
How
me
many
that.
times are we going to get any more thorough information than we got right here? 3 times we've got it. I can't think of a question.
I have questions.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have 3 questions that I would like answered.
No, I do too.
You know,
So
not the
let
only
me
one.
finish.
let's address this first.
No, let me finish. If we can get information from our attorney, maybe open this and continue it, we can address the question about this at the same time. And we don't have to decide this right now. We can ask our attorney.
So Bill has actually offered to call the attorney right now. He's trying to contact him now. So we have the
Okay.
option of speaking with the attorney
That would be good.
momentarily.
No, we aren't talking to the attorney. Bill is.
I know.
On just that one question right now.
I know.
On just that one
I know.
question about this.
My question to you is, would anybody else like to talk to the attorney about this? Or is everybody
No.
all set with this?
No. Quite
I
frankly,
don't wanna talk to the
we're
attorney.
eating up attorney bills left and right, and if you can't figure it out for yourself after all these years being on the board, whether we do hear or do not hear this application, then
It's
there's
not a matter
problem.
of hearing, it's a matter of asking about some of the things that are inside of this document that we got, that I have mostly legal questions about.
I don't need to. I said I did, but I don't.
You don't have any questions?
I make a motion to take a recess for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd second that.
Okay.
Everybody in favor?
Second, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Recess. Fine.
No reading the document.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it.
Anyway.
Nope. I don't know if Bill is, I don't know if Bill is talking to the attorney now or not.
Well, let's find out. We took a recess for 5 minutes.
Suzanne, do you have his number? Maybe you have a more direct number to Mike than I do.
Very good. That's good.
Yeah.
Thought I was calling it, but maybe
You got a cell phone?
I do, yeah. Why?
Oh, no, it's on my phone, huh?
yeah,
His number?
probably.
No, it's here. Trust, 12 Elm Street.
If I may, we want to be careful how long have we had this application for, and make sure that you open the hearing, and
Oh, okay.
October 7th. So will you make the 20th? I think our motion for a hearing is 30 days.
I don't have a calendar, yeah, it sounds...
Yeah, so you may have to open the hearing.
Well, wait a minute. We can always ask the applicant if they would
Correct.
consent to an extension.
Correct.
So, Mr. Fetter, is that who I would ask? Yeah,
Correct.
this
Why
is
don't we-
his, this is yours. Mr. Fetter, would you agree to an extension to the 20th for us to seek counsel? Thank you,
Can you-
appreciate that.
Can I put that on the record?
He said yes.
So you can hear it? Okay.
The applicant. And what that'll do for
Okay.
you is both
And-
things can be at the same
And
hearing.
both issues will be discussed on the 20th, which will be the request that we just got tonight and your request for rehearing. And that will be the second item on the agenda on the 20th. And it appears that we'll have our attorney here.
If I may, Mr. Factor is going to go to December, so their case will be the only item on the agenda.
Yeah,
Too.
so it'll be the only case.
Won't be here on the 20th, so.
Oh, that's
So
right,
it'll
yeah.
So
be, it'll
his
be
is
the
the
first
only-
Yes,
item.
oh, good. We'll need the whole night for it. Okay, so, I don't even remember where I am. The motion to continue to the 20th.
At 6 p.m.
I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Chuck, yes.
Audrey?
Yes.
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 Ryan, yes. Given the hour, I will not continue on the agenda, which was rules of procedure, and I think there was something else, so I'd like to suspend the rest of the agenda.
Do you want to mention about the site visits happening earlier?
No, he already knows, that's all taken care of.
Yes, I was berated.
Okay, a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.